Hello everyone! This week you'll be writing the outline for your IWA. There are two templates on Schoology that you can use, which are linked within the assignment, or you can create your own template. First, I'll use a screencast to review the IWA rubric from College Board, and then I'll address the questions that you submitted in a Q&A. This is the IWA rubric that College Board will be using to score your essay. There are 7 rows on the rubric. The first row is understanding and analyzing context. It is worth 5 points, and you will only score a 5 or a 0. The response demonstrates the relevance of at least one of the stimulus materials to the argument by integrating it as part of the response. That would be using a direct quote. Does the use of the stimulus material help progress the argument or contribute to the narrative of the response? The reader needs to be able to answer yes. The deletion of the reference to the stimulus material would change or weaken the argument, and its use reflects an accurate understanding of the source materials. Row 2 is also understanding and analyzing context. This row is also a 5 or 0. The response explains the significance or importance of the research question by situating it within a larger context. Does it provide a detailed explanation of why the research question matters by putting it in context? The reader will be looking in the first few paragraphs and needs to be able to answer yes. It contains specific and relevant details to convey why it matters, and there is alignment between the research question and/or the argument and context. Row 3 is on understanding and analyzing perspective. To get the 9 points available in this row, the response evaluates multiple perspectives or points of view, lenses, and synthesizes them by drawing relevant connections between them, considering objections, implications, and limitations. Does the response have multiple perspectives? To get the 9 points, the reader needs to be able to answer yes, elaborates on the connections among different perspectives, uses details from different sources or perspectives to demonstrate specific agreement or disagreement among perspectives. Row 4 of the rubric is establishing an argument. To get the 12 points in this row, the response is a clear and convincing argument. The response is logically organized and well-reasoned by connecting claims and evidence, leading to a plausible, well-aligned conclusion. Is there an evidence-based argument present? The reader needs to be able to answer yes. Organization is often signposted. The commentary explains fully how evidence supports the claims, and the solution or conclusion is fully aligned with the research question. Row 5 is selecting and using evidence. To get the 9 points in this row, the response includes relevant, credible, and sufficient evidence to support its argument. Does the response select relevant evidence from credible sources? Is the evidence selected sufficient to support the argument? The reader will be looking at the bibliography, the works cited or references page, and individual instances of selected evidence through the commentary. The reader needs to be able to answer yes. It makes purposeful use of relevant evidence from a variety of scholarly work, like peer-reviewed journals. Yes, the response effectively connects evidence to the argument, even if the relevance is not initially apparent. Yes, there is purposeful analysis and evaluation of evidence. And yes, the selected evidence fully supports claims. Remember to use credibility statements when addressing your scholarly work. Row 6 is on applying conventions through citations. This row is worth 5 points. The response attributes, accurately cites, and integrates the sources used through the use of in-text citations or footnotes. The bibliography, reference, or works cited page accurately references sources using a consistent style. Make sure that you are not switching between MLA and APA. Is the citation or attribution accurate? The reader will be checking the bibliography for consistency in style, checking for clarity and accuracy in in-text citations, and checking to make sure all in-text citations match up to the bibliography. Whatever you start with in your in-text citation should be the same thing that your citation starts with in the reference or works cited page. Yes, there are a few flaws. The response cannot score 5 points if key components are consistently missing. Finally, row 7 is also on applying conventions, but this time through grammar and style. This row is only worth 3 points. The response creates variety, emphasis, and interest to the reader through the use of effective sentences and precision of word choice. The written style is consistently appropriate for an academic audience, although the response may have a few errors in grammar and style. Is the grammar and style appropriate for an academic audience? To score the 3 points, yes, there are a few flaws. The first question, what do I include in the context and background section of the outline? So the context and background section is basically just answering the question, why does this matter? Make sure that you are addressing a real-world problem or issue. That is something that I bring up all the time when we are creating research questions. And then also make sure that you're addressing any background knowledge that your reader would need to know about the topic to understand your research question. What does it mean to define terms on the outline? So this question goes along with context and background, but I wanted to address it as a separate question. If you are using any terms that would be difficult to the average reader, someone who hasn't researched the topic and wouldn't understand, you want to define those terms in your introduction. For example, the word desensitization is a context-specific term that you'd want to define if you were using it in your essay. The average reader wouldn't know its meaning. You are the expert who has studied the topic, and it's your job to present the information in a way that makes sense to the average reader. When you quote a piece of the stimulus material, how do you make an in-text citation for it and add it to the references if you don't know the journal, date published, etc.? So the reference list for the stimulus material is actually located on the last page, page 58 of the stimulus material packet. College Board has already done that work for you. You just have to put the citations into MLA or APA format. And for the works that are noted as public domain, if you do a quick Google search, you'll find the original date of publication. How will the connections between our topic and the stimulus materials be integrated into our essay? You must include a direct quote from at least one of the stimulus materials. What will the process be for turning in the paper? For class, this will be the exact same process that you did for the IRR back when we were in school in January. You will submit your rough draft next week, and then in a few weeks we'll revisit it, and you will submit your final draft to Schoology and also to Turnitin. In May, we will upload both of your essays to College Board together. I will walk you through the process when it's time to do this. The official deadline right now is May 26th, but we'll be doing it the week before it's actually due in case you want to plan ahead. If you have any questions as you create your outline this week, send them to me through email or Schoology. Remember what I've said about your previous outlines. The requirement is that you complete all of the parts. The more detail you add, the easier it will be to write your essay next week. The less detail you include, the more time you'll be spending actually writing your essay. I hope this review was helpful, and as always, thank you for watching.